Hey there, my name is David Bowles, and my book, The Prince and the Coyote, just dropped today. It's a novel historical fiction about Prince Akolmisli, this guy right here, also known as Nezahualcoyotl, who, when he was 16 years old, found himself in a desperate situation. His father, the king of the city-state of Texcoco in the region of Acolhuacan, found himself invaded by the empire, the Tepaneca Empire. And as his family was destroyed and the city fell to the invaders, he went on the run with his son and was killed in the woods not far away. Akolmisli had to go on the run, just one step ahead of imperial troops. He found himself up in the mountains, struggling to survive, and he gave himself a new name. He called himself Nezahualcoyotl, and he wrote a bunch of poetry, and he was in exile and living through such hardships. He passed himself off as a commoner. He fought for an enemy army, all the while searching for allies and resources so that he could one day rise back up and take back what was his. Eventually, he finds his way to his uncles, who are the rulers of Tenochtitlan, the capital of the Mexica kingdom. And together they come up with a plan for overthrowing the Tepaneca Empire and establishing their own triple alliance of Anahuac, which we now call the Aztec Empire. It's a really amazing book with wonderful illustrations by Amanda Mijangos. It's full of adventure and romance, battle scenes, intrigue, just an amazing, I would say, look into what life was like in the early 15th century and what is now Mexico before the Spanish invasion. And what I thought I would do is to read you the first few pages of the book to give you a feel for what it's like. And hopefully you will get excited about it and decide to pick up a copy at your local indie or somewhere online. So the book, as I said, has wonderful illustrations inside of it. We've got these great family trees, the House of Acamapichli, which is the royal family of Tenochtitlan, the Kingdom of Mexico, of Mexico, and the House of Quinatzin, which is the royal family of Texcoco. The main character, the protagonist, the narrator, Akolmisli, aka Nezahualcoyotl, has parents from each one of these families. His mother is from the House of Acamapichli. His father is from the House of Quinatzin. So it's also a book about finding one's identity and trying to grapple with the complexities of ancestry. And you can see here this really beautiful map that Amanda put together. Acolhuacan is on the eastern shore of Moon Lake, which is now called Lake Texcoco. And right here in the middle, we have the Isle of Mexico, where Tenochtitlan and Tlatelolco are centered. And then over here on the west bank is Tepanecapan, which is the Tepaneca Empire. So without any further ado, let me read the prologue to you. The procession begins at the palace, wending its colorful way through the streets of Texcoco like the tail of the feathered serpent himself. Elite troops arrayed behind the vanguard of musicians and ministers. Mother sits straight and regal beside me on our litter, smiling with benevolence at her adoptive city. The widening spiral of our journey takes us through all 6 of the boroughs, each with its particular variation on the typical architecture of our region. Public steam baths and shrines, brick cubes teeming with people, steam, incense. Working class houses clustered around shared patios, echoing with the shouts of children, the yips of dogs, the cackling of turkeys. Merchant estates, guarded warehouses burgeoning with precious goods. Aristocrat mansions, white stone walls spiraling silent in the shade of cypress trees. The streets are packed with citizens, joyful at the prospect of peace after so many years of battle and loss. Some shout praise for the queen consort, but the majority chant my name. Ah, Kol Mistli! Ah, Kol Mistli! It's hard to describe the humble love that fills my chest at the sound. I am the crown prince. One day I will rule over this happy throng. Though I can never be one of them, though luxury and privilege are my birthright, I have learned from my father, the king, that my job will be to protect them, to work to make their lives better, and to provide culture and stability. And most of all, to defend the hybrid heritage of our people, the Akolwa way. It is a huge responsibility, but one I look forward to with relish. To spend my days defending and sharing knowledge, learning and creating beautiful things, improving the lot of my fellow human beings, what else could I possibly desire? Heaven's blessings shower down on me like flower petals. Two faces appear amid a cluster of aristocrats in the Chimalpaneca burrow to shake my joy for a moment. Atototl, my half-sister, and her husband, Lord Nonowalcatl. Though they nod in deference, I see their smiles shift as I turn away. Their sneers snag at my thoughts like a sour note in the middle of a lovely melody. We make our way past the municipal gardens and zoo, over the river, and into the sacred precinct. My gaze sweeps up the steps of the Pyramid of Duality, towering over the city like a symbolic mountain that brings us closer to heaven. I think of my public dedication upon its summit 2 years ago, my solemn consecration as Crown Prince of Texcoco. As I knelt there, my father, sturdy as a ceiba, tall and imposing, placed the coronet upon my brow. Akolmisli, he said, my forelock and fingernail, my flesh and blood. In time you will sit upon my throne. Not until today, however, has the reality of royal succession truly sunken in. I will be these people's king. Thankfully, that day lies far in the future. My father is healthy, strong, undefeated. So why this uneasiness in my heart? It's my half-sister's wry smile. I doubt her loyalty. I try to dispel my worry with my favorite pastime, imagining all that I will build around me when I am king. New temples soaring up from the earth, a center for music and literature, better drainage systems for the commoners, royal financing of repairs to older homes so that commoners can more comfortably fulfill their duty to gods and king. As we turn to make our final approach to the southern gate, the litter dips unexpectedly at one corner. I reach out to steady my startled mother, who recovers with her usual elegance and straightens the coronet upon my brow in turn. I cast my eyes at the guards escorting our litter. Father has entrusted that role to the youth captains of the Calmecac, including my bastard older half-brother Yanguili. He returns my look with a defiant smirk. My chest tightens. I can't help but be suspicious of my rival's grins. My conniving half-sister or girl half-brother may decide to arrange my death. They resent my title. They despise being at the margins of power. And there are factions in the city that, dissatisfied with the war my father triggered 14 years ago, might use them to legitimize a coup, which would begin with my assassination. It's a sort of possibility that all princes face everywhere. The palace is often more dangerous than the battlefield. Alliances shift, jealousies grow. Only one prince can become king at a time, after all. Being so close to that ultimate power is intoxicating. It's no surprise royal families disintegrate into factions bent on betrayal and assassination attempts. Ignore him, Mother whispers. I realize that I have been staring at young Guili. I turn to face the queen consort, who continues waving without dropping the veneer of her smile. I would if he were the only one. However, my words are cut off by the sound of conch trumpets to announce our arrival the gate of the city. We are greeted with bows and salutes from my uncles Acatlotli and Coyote, as well as other leaders of our army and community, gathered there to usher in a new era of peace. The porters set the litter down, gently this time. Attendants rush forward to help Mother and me descend. Through the arch of the gate, we see two clusters of men approaching along the southern road, flanked to the east by fields of maize, glittering gold in the morning light. On the right strides my father, the king of Texcoco, accompanied by his prime minister, his brother, General Acatlotzin, and his personal guard. To his left comes a similar group led by my maternal grandfather, the king of Tenochtitlan, vassal of the Tepaneca Empire that has waged war on us for 15 years. The two kings exchange friendly looks as they walk, laughing at each other's jests. They have just signed one of the most important treaties of our times. I should rejoice to see them so relaxed. Instead, my stomach feels tightened into knots. Beside me, Mother sighs, content. Her eyes glitter with happy tears. Long have I prayed for this moment, reunited with my father, watching 3 generations of my family's men standing together in harmony. I reach out and take her hand in mine. She squeezes it in return. You deserve this happiness and peace, Mother. As if prompted by my words, the corn shudders with movement. Hundreds of Mexica warriors explode from their hiding place amid the stalks, weapons held high as they descend upon my father's party. His brother and personal guard find themselves engaged in a vicious fight, trying to keep the enemy from the king of Texcoco. But my father is one of the greatest warriors in Aculhuacan. He spins away from the attackers and seizes his father-in-law, his ceremonial sword at the man's neck. No, Mother cries, bolting toward the gate, swept along with the battalion of elite warriors that have accompanied our procession and who now rush to help protect king and city. But her attendants stop her, clinging and pleading. Our soldiers enter the fray alongside the king's guard, clashing with the traitorous Mexica as father continues to force grandfather forward toward the city. But the king of Mexico Tenochtitlan manages to slip free, seizing an obsidian sword from a fallen warrior. It is a big, 2-handed weapon, its wooden body the length and shape of an oar, with black razors along the edges of the paddle that glint deadly in the sunlight. The 2 men square off, circling each other, ignoring the battle around them as they prepare to duel. My heart is thundering wildly. I would hurry to father's side, but I would be dead in moments if I stepped beyond these walls. I'm no fighter. My martial arts are mediocre at best. Movement to my right. I flick my eyes over to see Yanquili inching toward me, sword in hand. I realize I'm unsafe even inside the city. My half-brother advances, a grin splitting his blunt features. The muscles of his bare chest and abdomen tighten as if preparing for attack. The top knot that crowns his head reminds me that he has actually been in battle and captured an enemy soldier or two. A screech pierces the din. Overhead, an owl wings its way over the city, harbinger of death. But before Yanquili can attempt anything, Uncle Coyote throws an arm around his shoulder and pulls him to me faster. My father's brother-in-law is unarmed, but his bright regalia and authoritative voice are as good as any shield or weapon. Good thinking, Yanquili, Coyote says, giving me a sidelong glance of warning. We must protect the crown prince from the Mexica, no matter the cost. Guard his left flank. Hand me your dagger, and I shall cover his right. The bastard murmurs a curse as he complies. My gaze returns to the patch of road right outside the gate. Father and grandfather are slamming their weapons into each other's shields, each attempting to wear the other down. But the weight of the weapon grandfather has chosen wears him down. I can see his muscles straining with every blow. Then, grandfather's shield cracks. He falls to his knees. Yield, howls father, lifting his sword to strike. Never, spits the king of Mexico Tenochtitlan. Long live Emperor Tezosomok! Pulling a dagger from his belt, he buries it in father's thigh. The sword swings in a downward arc, the obsidian razors at its edges sliding along grandfather's defiant throat. A spray of blood spatters a Kolwa soil and the king who protects it. And grandfather's body goes sprawling lifeless in the dust. And that's the prologue to The Prince and the Coyote. Available at bookstores everywhere and online from the wonderful folks at La Bien Querido. Thanks a lot. Hope you enjoy it. Reach out to me, comment below, tell me what you think. I'm excited to get feedback from all of the readers. Take care. Tlasuka Mati.